Welcome to Personal Finance Cat, where I share my personal take on personal finance.
10 Metaverse Business Opportunities. If you haven't heard about the Metaverse, great, you're in the right place. If you have heard about it already, even better. Let's talk about the wonderful potential business opportunities in the Metaverse. I don't listen to the news anymore, so I obviously missed out on this one. I only found out a couple of months ago from a meetup with friends. I don't meet up with friends that much anymore either due to the pandemic, FYI. I know, pathetic me. But this is actually relevant for what we're going to talk about today. Connecting with people in a virtual environment, which was forced to happen on a mass scale due to the pandemic. Yes, that's what the Metaverse is about. People can connect with each other in a more realistic sense in the Metaverse than being on Zoom, for example. Believe it or not, there is no clear definition of the Metaverse. That's why an article from The Wired titled, "What is the Metaverse exactly?" starts with this opening. To hear tech CEOs like Mark Zuckerberg or Satya Nadella talk about it, the Metaverse is the future of the internet. Or it's a video game. Or maybe it's a deeply uncomfortable, worse version of Zoom. It's hard to say. Cynicism aside, according to Wikipedia, in futurism and science fiction, the Metaverse is a hypothetical iteration of the internet as a single, universal, and immersive virtual world that is facilitated by the use of virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, headsets. In colloquial use, a metaverse is a network of 3D virtual worlds focused on social connection. There is a lot of enthusiasm about the metaverse, which is understandably so. Breakthrough technologies have brought about new, exciting experiences and made many people a fortune. Think about the internet, cryptocurrencies, electric cars as three most recent examples. Of course, accompanying these changes, there is always the voice of doubt and criticism. But I've learned to embrace the changes and getting early. Lately, I've been trying to become a more optimistic person and look more at the bright side. I never played any video games. I didn't know the difference between VR and AR, and I didn't know anything about coding, etc., etc. But I've decided to start learning. Because, as you have seen, people who can get in early on the breakthrough/disruptive technologies are the ones that made the most out of the opportunities. Take cryptocurrency as an example. There are so many Bitcoin millionaire or billionaire stories. You may have heard the following one if you follow cryptocurrencies at all. If you bought $100 worth of Bitcoin back when it was 10 cents a coin in 2009, you'd have been able to buy about 1,000 Bitcoins. At the peak price of $60,000 or so per Bitcoin this year, they would have been worth $60 million. And this is just hypothetical. Investing in Bitcoin did make the Winklevoss twins billionaires. This is one of those awesome comeback stories that encourage people, including me, not to give up. Using the money they got from the Facebook settlement under the claim that Mark Zuckerberg copied their idea, which was about $65 million. The Winklevoss twins bought $11 million worth of Bitcoin in 2013 for as little as $10 per coin. During the December 2017 surge, the price of Bitcoin peaked at over $18,000 a coin and made them billionaires. But they held on to their Bitcoins and did not sell. Throughout the years, they have also created and or acquired a series of companies in the crypto space, including the cryptocurrency exchange Gemini. Another example is social media, which you all are probably very familiar with. Social media was first taunted as being something for kids, but now everybody's on it, and social media has become this sensational phenomenon that people cannot live without. Along came the various business opportunities that nobody probably foresaw, at least not fully. The whole creator economy has allowed people to generate income and wealth by doing something they love, while at the same time providing value to others. Right now, the largest influencers are usually those who have got in early, and their content quality has increased by leaps and bounds over the last several years, making it harder and harder for newcomers to compete. So why am I starting with all of this background? Well, simply to prove the point that the best time to become part of the new breakthrough technology is the early phase. Now, you don't want to be too early because it might not take off and or you may get frustrated not knowing where to go. The Winklevoss twins did not get into Bitcoin in 2009, but rather the 2012/13 timeframe. Most of the large YouTubers didn't get on YouTube in 2005 when it launched, but rather the late 2000s or early 2010s. I do believe now is the time to get into the metaverse. Even though the metaverse-akin environments have existed for a number of years already, especially in the gaming industry, now you have started to see big companies like Meta and Microsoft investing heavily in this space. By the way, Facebook changed its name to Meta to show their deep commitment in this new adventure in their company's journey. Meta has also launched this ubiquitous marketing campaign with Mark Zuckerberg himself being the center of it. There was a 1.5-hour long video the company produced and launched in October 2021 to walk through Meta's vision of the metaverse. I will call this video the Meta video from now on because I'll reference it quite a bit. I watched the entire Meta video as well as some interviews Mark did with well-known influencers like Tim Ferriss. My inspiration for the 10 metaverse business opportunities mainly came from such content and the derivative research I did. I believe these business opportunities would be more grounded than what some of the other influencers are advocating, such as buying digital land in a virtual world, which I find quite speculative and not for most individual investors or entrepreneurs like me or you perhaps. I will try to rank these options from the easiest/most passive to the hardest/most active, which naturally also corresponds to your potential rate of return. As they say, no pain, no gain. Number 1. Passive investment in companies like Meta or Microsoft. As you may have already known, I'm not someone who would advocate for investing in individual stocks. But if you have appetite for it, do your research and due diligence and invest in the stocks of the company or companies you feel the most strong about. If you are an accredited investor, you can even be an angel investor for the startup companies in this space. This option is probably riskier than the following options that I'm going to talk about, in the sense that you're not the one in control, but rather the management teams at those companies and the stock market. So proceed with caution. If I may, 2 pieces of advice I want to share. Number 1, go with the bigger companies that already have a track record of success and a strong leadership team. And number 2, hold the stock long-term and not to panic sell during the downturn. Number 2, become an architect or designer. If you have any sort of artistic ability, try becoming an architect or designer in the metaverse. Since this is still the Wild West, it's more important to get started than to perfect your skills and wait. As of now, no qualifications are needed, as far as I know. There is a story about a 25-year-old graduate student who makes money by building homes in the virtual world of The Sims. She does not have formal qualifications for architecture or design, but just a passion for building things. Her works of art definitely look very impressive to me. Besides building structures, there are so many other things you can design, such as avatars, clothing, accessories, and any other form of art. The recent surge of NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, proves that people definitely would be willing to purchase and possess digital artwork. I still didn't get why people would pay millions of dollars for the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. But hey, I'm no artist, nor do I have a good taste for art. Another more realistic option in my mind is to provide your design work on a metaverse social network like IMBU, where users can create and sell 3D avatars and provide other services for that matter in exchange for Vcoin, the virtual currency of IMBU. And you guessed it, Bitcoin can then be converted into real-world currency, so you can make real money by doing this. No wonder there are already hundreds of thousands of creators who are selling their design work on IMVU. Number 3, provide consulting services. If you're not a technically savvy person, but are still interested in learning, what you can do is to keep abreast of developments in this area as much as possible. The goal is to understand the industry really deeply and stay in the forefront. You can then provide consulting services to people or companies who are just starting out, in order to help them navigate the uncharted territories. In doing my research for this episode, I can immediately see how much existing history there already was, and how fast everything is moving towards the future. It can get overwhelming for someone who is new to all of this, and they would want to seek help from people who can at least point them to the right direction. For example, as more and more businesses want to move their presence into the metaverse, just as more and more businesses moved on the internet in the 90s and 2000s, and more businesses moved on social media in the 2010s and 2020s, you can build your business around this movement by capturing the early wave. Number 4, become a technical expert. If you are a tech talent or have the aptitude for it, another way to take advantage of this budding trend is to channel your skills to the technological areas in which the metaverse is relied upon. The metaverse draws on a vast ensemble of different technologies, including virtual reality platforms, gaming, machine learning, blockchain, 3D graphics, digital currencies, sensors, and in some cases, VR-enabled headsets. If you already have experience in these areas or are interested in learning, now is the time to hone your skills. There are non-profit organizations out there which provided technical education such as coding for free. freecodecamp.org is one such example, and they recently published an article about 10 free websites for learning coding, which I'll link in the show notes. Once you obtain these skills, you can provide these skills through platforms such as Fiverr or Upwork. I just visited those sites and looked for talent who provide these services. I soon realized that the best way is to seek a partnership. Services are always going to get commoditized over time. What you can create as proprietary IP as a result of services provision is what matters the most. Number 5, provide educational content. This is one area that I'm very excited about. Education changed my life in a big way, so I always appreciate learning. Although I didn't like the means in which education was provided, at least the formal education when I was growing up. As they say, the teacher lecturing and students passively listening kind of style hasn't changed for hundreds of years. Yes, there may have been some incremental improvements, but for the most part, that's how education is done. In the Meta video, they portrayed a kid who was able to learn about astrophysics by immersing herself in a scaled-down version of the solar system. And there are many wonderful things she can do. For example, she could zoom in and out to see the nature of the atmosphere for each of the planets in the solar system. As you can imagine, there are so many applications that will be made possible in order to facilitate immersive learning in the fields of history, physics, biology, chemistry, medicine, to name just a few. It would not only make learning that much more fun, but also that much more impressionable. Sounds exciting, but how do I get started, you ask? Good news. Meta has already committed a $150 million investment in immersive learning to train the next generation of creators. So hop on the train and get some free training if you're so inclined. I browsed through their certifications and programs offered by Meta and discovered that there's already a program and the associated certification for augmented reality or AR creation. It looks very interesting, so I might even give it a try. Number 6, become an influencer. Before social media was created, there was no such a thing as an influencer. But now, of course, being an influencer is a legit business venture and it's getting very competitive in all of the popular platforms. Metaverse is offering you another chance. Create an avatar that represents your essence. It can be a replica of the real you or a fantasized version of you. That said, don't sweat too much about it because you can always change it. Get on the Metaverse and start influencing. Again, in a meta video, they showcased a beauty influencer being interviewed in a virtual space inspired by her products. It looks amazing. Imagine that your followers can get in your virtual space and shop for your products, or watch your entertainment, or learn from your wisdom, etc., etc., all from the comfort of their home but feel ever so close to their influencer. Number 7. Make digital products. This one overlaps with some of the previous ones we already spoke about. Digital products can include artwork, if you're a designer, educational course, if you're an educator, entertainment, if you are an entertainer, but so much more. What about a virtual tour to the Grand Canyon or wherever else, existing in the real world or not? What about a flower decorating hangout session with friends who are physically far away? What about a fitness class with a celebrity trainer? Your imagination and creativity are the only limit to what can be created as a digital product in the metaverse. Number 8. Work for companies that are participating in a metaverse adventure. One of the best ways to learn is to learn while getting paid. It's easier said than done though, because it is well known that companies like Microsoft and Meta are hard to get in. Once you do get in though, not only will you get paid well, you will also be in the know and continuously learn. Again, there are many free resources out there to train yourself up before you apply for a job in such a company. As a matter of fact, Meta has resources dedicated to people who want to learn about what Meta's products are about and how to best utilize their products. There is a specific section for job seekers interested in a career in Meta, which I'll link to the show notes. You may wonder, I'm here to learn about business opportunities, not to get another job, so why is this even an option? Fair point. I personally think this is a great way to get started and learn the ropes. Coinbase founder Brian Armstrong worked at Airbnb before starting Coinbase. Zoom founder Eric Yuan worked at WebEx before starting Zoom. Nest founder Tony Fadell worked at Apple before starting Nest, and the list goes on. My point is, by immersing yourself in an environment that closely ties to what you're passionate about, one day you may have a grounded, realistic, and actionable epiphany to start something on your own. Number 9. Produce hardware and/or accessories. I would admit that this one is a bit of a stretch for many people, but the benefit of getting in early is that there is little competition and plenty of opportunities. Nowadays, with 3D printing and other technological advancements, plus a plethora of contract manufacturers, it may be more reachable than you think. Stop saying, I can't do it, and start asking, how can I do it? I didn't invent this quote. Rather, the one and only Robert Kiyosaki was the one who first said something to this effect, which may have been in the context of real estate investing or money attitude in general. Don't say, I can't afford it, but ask, how can I afford it? Because the moment you have a negative statement like, I can't do something, any further thoughts are shut down. But if you ask a question like, how can I do something? Your brain starts working and possibilities emerge. Number 10. Generate new business ideas. Last but not least, and certainly the hardest, is to come up with brand new business ideas that were previously not even possible. When the internet first became available and consisted mostly of text and hyperlinks, most people did not see what the potential of the internet would be. The internet of the time is now known as Web 1.0. Then came along interactive websites and social media, and the huge boom of the creator economy that was brought about by such advancement in the internet. This is the phase we're currently in and is now known as Web 2.0. So Web 3.0 is the next phase or the future of the internet, and of course, there is no official definition yet. The good old Wikipedia defines it as an idea for a new iteration of the World Wide Web based on blockchain technology, which incorporates concepts such as decentralization and token-based economics. It is less important to know what Web 3.0 means exactly than understanding and embracing that there will be new business models that will come along which were previously non-existing. Just as the social media of today and the associated creator economy were probably not envisioned by the people who created Internet 1.0 decades ago, what will exist in the future in Web 3.0 is not exactly known yet. So you, my friend, may be the one who will create the next big thing that excites young people while terrifying their parents, at least in the beginning. But rest assured, it's not going to be one idea that will be the only winner. And even from just one idea, many opportunities will be spun out of that. This is probably the longest episode I've ever done, so obviously you can tell that I'm pretty excited for what's coming. I don't want to be left out again, and I want to be as close to the forefront as possible this time. I hope you feel the same way, and join me on this journey. Maybe I'll see you in the Metaverse one day. Thank you so much for listening to the end. Until next time.